Dear student, just wait. We are checking with the faculty.
Sorry for delay. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Dr. Kavalpreet. I am with you for taking your subject, PPL. Yes. Good evening to all. So, before, without wasting time, let's start the lecture. Yes, Ekta, good evening. Rahul, good evening. Very good evening. So, this is the chapter that we were doing it, that is loops and exception handling, right? So, in this chapter, so half of the content we have already done. So this is loops and exception handling we have. Then we have learned applications, entry exit also control loop we have done. Then while, do, break, continue also we have done on the last in the last class, right? Then comes to the exception handling. Good evening, Smartha. So in exception handling is a mechanism in programming that allow the errors, because some runtime errors, compile time errors are coming. Okay, so to handle those errors, and so we need to make it some subprogram, or you can say some cases we are making it so that they can handle the error gracefully within a program. So exception is an object that represents an error, right? And or what you can say, this is the unusual condition that has occurred. So during running a program, if any of the unusual condition will occur, so that will be handled by a exception means error. Exception means error. And how we are handling it within a program very gracefully. So how we are handling it, these exception, and respond to them appropriately. How we are giving a response to the errors appropriately within a program. So that is exception handling. So deal with the events to avoid the system or the program crashing. Or without this process, exception would disrupt the normal operation of the program. So without this process, exception would disrupt the, so without changing any program, or without any other process, how the exception will be handled normally within a program. So exception occur for a numerous reasons. Sometimes the errors will occur if you have given an invalid user input, like your number you are divided with a zero. Some code errors are there, like you have not put a semicolon or something. Device failure is there, or loss of a network connection. Like today I have a problem of network, so for that reason only I'm not able to join it on time. So this can be handled within the program also. Insufficient memory to run an application, a memory conflict with another program, and a program attempting to divide by zero, this I already told you. And user attempting to open the files that are unavailable. The file is unavailable and we are trying to open it. So is this clear to you? Bhumin, good evening. Hello, good evening, Kushbu. So this is the exception handling. So when an exception occurs during a programming construct, so interrupt hardware mechanism or the operating system will communicate, or handle, operating system will handle the exception. How exception handling differ from the error handling, in that the former involves condition and application might catch versus the serious problem. So that will depend that how much serious is the problem. Okay, so sometimes serious problem an application might want to avoid. So in contrast, error handling helps maintain the normal flow of software program execution. So error handling helps to maintain the, how it maintains the normal flow of software program execution. So error handling helps to maintain the norm. So because error, if the error will come, that then also the process will not be stopped. So the normal flow of the program execution will be there. So for that reason, so what is the reason? So this is for that reason only we are doing a error handling for the normal flow of the software program. So what are the key components of exception handling we have? Yes, Pandey, good evening. So what are the key components of exception handling we have? Throwing an exception. So when an error occurs, the program generates an exception object that contains information about the error. So exception is then thrown or the raised, which means that it is passed to the nearest enclosing block of code. So that is capable of handling the exception. So like, is this like you have somebody is giving a ball to the batter. So like in a cricket, how what we are doing, we are giving a ball, bowler is giving the ball, and then batsman is raising it or to the throne, so that the nearest block of code try to catch it, so that the program will be handled easily. So this is throwing an exception that contains information about the error, and the exception is thrown and raised, which means that it is passed to the nearest block of code. Next, we have a throwing. Throwing means how we are throwing an error. Catching an exception means when exception is thrown, it might be caught or handled by an appropriate exceptional handler. So some handlers are there in the program. So exception handler is a block of code. So here we are saying the nearest enclosing block of code. So that block of code we called as the exceptional handler. So handler is a block of code that's specifically designed to handle a particular type of exception. If no exception handler is found, if the proper exception, whosoever the exception is thrown, so proper, if we don't have a proper exception handler related to that exception, the program will terminate and error message will be displayed to the user. So this we call as a catching an exception. Is this clear? Next, we have handling an exception. Once an exception is caught, yes, like try catch method. Very good, Khushbu. So handling an exception, once the exception is caught, the exception handler can take corrective action. So that log the error or report the error to the user. The specific actions taken will depend on the nature of the error. How you will take the specific action? That will depend on the nature of the error and the requirement of the program. So just because of the nature of the error, the specific action will be, so specific action taken will depend on the nature of the error and the requirement of the program. So this will be clear by the program. See here, this one, I have taken here I'm showing you the syntax of how the exception will be handled by a exception handler. So assuming a block will raise an exception, a method catches an exception using a combination of try and catch keywords. So a try catch block is placed around the code. So that might generate an exception. So code within a try catch block is referred as a protected code. And the syntax for using a try catch look like this. Is this clear? So try, how you will write the syntax for the try catch. So try, you have to start the braces. Here you will write the protected code. Okay. So try, and you have just closing the braces because the protected code means here the exception will be raised. Okay. So the catch is your exception handler. So you have made a three catches here, three catch statement, three catch block of code. You are writing it here for handling the error. Like first we have made a exception handler E1. Okay. Then we have exceptional handler. We have made of E2 name. Then we have En. So you can list down multiple catch statement to catch a different type of exception in case your try block raises. If the try block raises the exception or error, then more than one exception in different situation, we have to make it. So one is not, only one catch is not possible because many type of errors will be occurred. Okay, so this is the syntax of try and catch statement. Now see the example. With the example, the things will be clear more. Okay, now see the example. So here is the example of how exception handling might be used in a program. So try code block that might generate an exception. Okay, the try block of code will be closed here. Then catch. In catch, we have exception type 1, E1. Okay, so this is exception handler for exception type 1. Then catch exception type 2, that is E2. So exception handler for exception type 2. And then if this try block of code or the try exception will not be catched by any catch statement, then who will be catched? Then finally, this finally is the name that if no catch statement will work or no exception handler will work, then finally block of code will be executed. So code block that will always execute regardless of whether an exception was thrown or not. It was thrown or not, or it was catch or not, it will finally will be worked. So in this example, the try block contains code that might generate an exception. If exception is thrown, the program will look for an appropriate catch block of code to handle the exception. If no matching catch block is found, the exception will propagate up the call stack up until it is caught or the program terminates. So this will be the exception will be propagated up, and that will be stopped terminated there, and that then program terminates. The finally block is used to specify the code that should always be executed. Either the try block will work or the catch block will work. Finally block of code will work if no statement will executed, regardless of whether an exception was thrown or caught. It was thrown or not thrown, but the finally block of code will be executed always. Is this clear? Through the example, the things are clear to you? Is this clear? Give me the feedback. Okay, Khushbu, thanks for your feedback, beta. What about others? Now, how is exception handling used? Bhumin, Rahul. Okay, thanks, Bhumin. Now how is the exception handling used? So if a program has a lot of statements, an exception happens, right? So if a program has a lot of statements, an exception happens halfway through its execution, the statement after the execution do not execute. So then if a program has a lot of statements, an exception happens, the statement after the exception do not execute, and the program crashes. So exception handling helps ensure this does not. How is exception handling used? Why? How we are using it? So this is a, so we are exception handlers are we are how, as you have seen in the syntax and the example. So we have made a multiple exception handlers, right? So a lot of statements we have, an exception happens. So half the way of the execution, the statement after the exception do not execute it because the program crashes. So for that reason only, because as the exception occurs, the program crashes there only, the next statement will not execute it. So for that reason only, we have used the exceptional handling. So exception handling, now you got it. Why we are using exception handling? When the exception happens, the program will crash it, means it will stop working it. So for handling, so so that the after exception, that no other statement of the program will execute. So for stopping this, we have made a exception handler that help us that this does not happen. So this will not be happen, the program will not be crashed. So when an exception occurs, so whenever the exception occurs, program will not crashes or not terminated. For that reason, we have made a exceptional handler. So exception handling can catch and throw exception. If a detective function is in a block of code cannot deal with the anomaly, anomaly means the error, the exception is thrown to a function that can handle the exception. So catch statement is a group of statements that handle the specific thrown exception. So catch parameters determine the specific type of exception that is thrown. So catch parameters always determine the specific type of exception that is thrown. So exception handling is very useful for dealing with the, how it is useful for dealing with the exception that cannot be handled, so that cannot be handled locally. This is useful for dealing with the exception handling is very useful for dealing with the, tell me, is dealing with the exception that cannot be handled locally. So instead of showing an error status in the program, the exception handler transfer control to where the error can be handled. So we will pass the error or the exception to the proper exception handler so that the program will not terminated. Okay. So a function can throw exception or can choose to handle exception. Error handling code can also be separated from the normal code with the use of try block, and which is code that is enclosed in a curly braces that could cause an exception. So try block can help programmers to categorize the exception objects. So there are different type of exception that can be raised when an error occurred during the execution of a program. So each type of exception represent a specific kind of error, or you can say error भी कह सकते हो उसे, and you can say a unusual condition also that can be caught and handled in a different way. So here are the some of the most common type of exception we have. First, we have a arithmetic exception. Second, we have a null pointer exception. Third, we have a array index out of bound exception. So arithmetic exception means the exception is raised when an arithmetic operation produces an error, such as division by zero or an overflow or an underflow condition will come. If any number you are dividing with a zero, then arithmetic exception will occur. Or if we have out of the box we are writing we are writing a number, or underflow condition will occur. So this we called as a arithmetic exception. Null pointer exception, this exception is raised when an attempt is made to access a null object reference, when we are taking a reference or a parameter or the arguments as a null. In a function we are taking a argument as a null, so that is null pointer exception. Third, we have a array index out of bound exception, like we have made an array of 10 elements and we are trying to access a 12th element in an array. So this exception is raised when an attempt is made to access an array element outside the boundary of the array. So now you got it, what kind of errors or exceptions will be occurred in the program. Now see, I have used one C program also here for your reference so that you can easily understand it, how it will be raised or how it will be handled in a program. So things will be more clear in your mind when you will see this diagram. Okay, Bole, if it is understood to you. Is it understood to you? Kindly give me the feedback. Hurry up, everyone. Okay, Rahul. No worries. After this, okay, then Bhumin, thank you for your feedback. Let me explain you, Rahul, with this program also. Might be it will be more clear to you after understanding this program. Okay. Now see here. Okay, Khushbu. See here, like C++ program to demonstrate the use of try, catch, and throw in exception handling. So if when you are writing these lines with the backslash two lines, those lines are starting with the two backslashes, that means this is a comment. So this will be ignored by a compiler. This is only for your readability. This is only for your understanding of the program. We are writing these lines. But at the time of execution, the compiler will ignore these lines. Those lines are starting with these two black back slashes. Okay. Then first two header files we have hash include iostream. Okay. This is input output stream, right? This is I for input, O for output, and stream, input output stream. Second header file, we have a standard exception, except. So for exception handling, we need to include this also in C++. STD means standard, EXEPT means exception. So all the files related to the exception are in in this header file we have. Now the main function for the so compiler will always start the execution from the main program only. So it will search the main function where we have written. So here we have written the main function with with the the data type int. So it must be for this int we must have to include this line return 0, because we want to return the result or output in the form of integer. So first of all, we are making a try block. Try curly braces start int numerator we have 10, int this is data type, in numerator or denominator are the variables. The first numerator we have initialized with the 10 and denominator we have initialized with the 0. Then third variable we have a res. Res क्या है बेटा? Result. Res result short form we have written here res. Every line we will end with the semicolon. Int is a data type for all three variables. Then check if denominator is 0, then throw runtime error. Obviously, if it is 0, then it will give you the runtime error. So if denominator is equal to 0, throw runtime error. So what type of error it will be thrown? Division by 0 not allowed. Okay. So try block will be close it here. So calculate the result if no exception occurs. If no exception occurs, then this will work. Result is equal to numerator divided by denominator. Okay. Okay. And then print the result. Cout we are using iostream having the two functions in or out. Like in C we are using scanf or printf. The same scanf function, the same work cin console input that we are using in C++. Cin is work as a scanf, and cout, see the cursor position, cout works as a printf in C. In C++, we are using in a place of printf, we are using cout. So result after division we will get a result res. And endl क्या है? Just like in C, we are using /n for the next line. In C++, we are using this escape character endl, means end of line. Okay, so this we are using it. So this will work when we have a no exception. Okay, so this code will work when we have a no exception. If the exception is there, then it will be catched by a exception handler. So catch block to catch the thrown exception. So we have made a catch const exception %e. So this is the way of writing it. So exception in the memory, exception will be handled. How? Cout exception e dot what is what means what kind of exception has occurred. So e is a, we have made a object of a exception here. Like we have made a there e1 e2 e3. So three exception handlers we are making it in the previous example. I'm just showing you. Like here we have made an example e1 e2, right? With two exception we have made it of two objects, because we think that error, this type of error will be can be occurred, or another type of error will be occurred. But here we know the only one type of error will occur if we will divide with the 0. So runtime error will come and it will show you divide by 0 not allowed. So this try block will be catched by this exception handler with the object e. We have made an object of this exception. So when we will call this message, or we will print this message, this exception, so how you will write? So exception, what kind of exception will come? So if for printing that, you need to write down e dot what, and then you need to end the line. So this is a catch block you have. Then return 0 means this value will be written in the form of 0. Okay, the output will come exception division by 0 not allowed. So this error will be called by a this object and it will be printed by a this function. What function will print in exception for printing the error? Is this clear to everyone? Tell me, hurry up. Is this clear? Give me the feedback, please. If you have doubt, kindly ask me. Then only I'll move to the next slide. Hurry up, everyone. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm moving to the now next slide. So learning outcomes of this session is we have learned loop and exception handling, right? In this chapter, what kind of loop you have learned in this? C, we have learned many types of loops in C, for, while, do while loop, and the for loop is the most commonly used loop in C. So loop has a three components for a for loop. What kind of three components we have in a for loop? Tell me. Okay, okay, Rahul. Yes, Jasjeet. Okay, you are marking your attendance. So this is a block of code for a specific number of times. If any block of code you want to execute it number of times. So for loop having a three components: initialization, condition, and the increment. Then initialization set the initial value. Condition will perform the loop variable, and then increment updates we needed after each iteration. So while loop executes a block of code as long as the specified condition is true. The loop continues until the condition becomes false. Do while loop is similar to the while loop, but do while always execute the code at least once. That is to be not be done by a while loop, right? So these are the review questions. What is the do while loop? How does it differ from the while loop? I told you this question will come definitely. So learn this question properly. What is break statement? How it is to be used in the programming? What is exception handling? What is the purpose of try, catch, finally block in exception handling? What is an arithmetic exception? That also I told you. So divide by zero comes in a arithmetic exception. Null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception that I've already explained you from the chapter. So what is legal argument exception? This is left. I will share some questions with you with the answer related to these topics. Okay. What is class cast exception? What is input output exception? So what is for loop and how is it differ from the while loop? This you will write easily. How can you exit from a loop in programming? What is the difference between break and continue statement? So exit from the loop in programming, we need a break statement. Okay. After break, this loop will come out. Will exit in the programming, right? Yes, for loop is syntax is this only. Very right, Khushbu. Very good. Increment, decrement. Yes, Rahul, increment, decrement. I plus plus, I minus minus. So that is increment, decrement. Understood? Okay, I've already posted some questions related to this chapter here at the end of this PPT. So, what is array index out of bound exception and when might it occur in a program? So, through this, I've shared one or the two questions at the end of the PPT so that you can easily understood how you can write down the answer in the exam, right? An array index out of bound exception is thrown when a program attempts to access an element at an index. So that is outside the bound of the array. So this typically occurs when a program tries to access an element of an index that is less than 0 or greater than or equal to the length of the array. So array index out of bound exception, when it will be occur, when the program attempts to access an element, like we have 10 elements, so every element is on a particular index, like a0, like we have an array with the name a, so it will be stored in a memory like a0, a1, a2, a3, a4. So every element will be stored in a specific index. So they are saying, so how that is outside the bound of the array. So this typically occurs when a program tries to access an element. You are accessing an element at an index on, yes, element at an index on that particular index. So that is, if it is on that particular index, that is fine. But if it is less than the index, like 0, you are accessing it, or greater than or equal to the length of the array, so then the array index out of bound exception will occur. So what cause an array index out of bound exception? This can happen if the index is negative, greater than or equal to the size of the array. Under these three conditions, the array index out of bound exception will occur. So it indicates that the program is trying to access an element at an index that does not exist. So we are trying to exist because we are, if we have a 10 elements, but we are writing 0. So in a memory, it will be represented 0 to 9 only. There is no 10 number in a memory. So 0 to 9, we are using it for representing an array of size 10, right? So if you want to try to access the equal to the size of the array, like you want to access a A10 position, so then also it will show you the, because that number is not existing it in the array. No index is there of a 10. You have 0 to 9 for the 10 elements. Okay, so this can be caused by a bug in the code, such as off by one error or by user input that is not properly validated. Now see the example of in the Java how you will write this. So you have made a integer array of a numbers name, and here we have taken a 5 elements, 1 2 3 4 5. So try, in the try block, int x is equal to number 5. This will throw an error array index out of bound exception. Why? Because this 5 will be represented in a memory 0 to 4. Okay, so fifth element, number is the array name. So fifth 5 in the subscript, these square bracket we called as a subscript in a array. So array name, subscript, single subscript, we have a one dimension, you can say this is of, we are trying to access the index number 5. So 5 is not there in the memory. So that we want to access that value, the in an array on the fifth position or the fifth index, that value we want to access it. But this is not possible because this is not showing it. So this will show you array out of bound exception. So system.out.println. So like in C we are using scanf printf. In C++ we are using C in, C out. In the same way in Java we are using c.out, system.out.println. ln क्या है again for the next line? X, value of x, we want to print it. But here we are not getting the value of x because right side value will be assigned to the left side variable. But here no value will come because number 5 पे तो array में हमारे पास कोई element है ही नहीं, right? So this will throw an exception of a array index out of bound. So catch block, here we have with the object e, we have an object of e that shows the array index out of bound exception. So by using of this println, so that error will be, what error it will be catched, that is a index out of bound. Okay, so for the try block we are making a catch, so that will catch the exception that is to be thrown by a try block. Okay, so that is a index is out of bound. So in this example, the array number has a length of 5. This only I have already explained to you. So that, but the program is trying to access the element at the index 5, which does not exist. So the try block contains the code that may throw the exception, and the catch block contains the code that will handle the exception if it is thrown. So in this case, it will print the message error What kind of message will be printed? Index is out of bound. Is this clear to you? Give me the feedback. Hurry up. Yes, Bhumin, Kushbu. Is it understood to you? Okay. 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 Still little bit. Bhole, I have shown you the syntax also. I have given one example. Then again, I have complete program I have shown to you. Now I am explained the complete method. Again, I have explained the complete method of try and catch with the help of program. Because you are confused little bit. I understood because I have taken example of all three different languages, like one that in the C how you are using it, how in the C++ how, because syntax are new for you, because Java we are for the printing we are using system.out.println. In C++ we are using C out we are using, in C we are using scanf printf, right? Now, how can you exit from a loop in programming, and what is the difference between break and continue statement? So in programming, you can exit a loop using the break statement. Break statement, stop the entire loop, including any remaining iterations. When a specific condition is met, control moves to the next statement after the loop. Continue statement skips the current iteration of the loop but continues the loop with the next iteration. So control remains within the loop. So what is the difference between break and continue statement in C? Break statement stops the entire process of the loop. Continue statement only stops the current iteration of the loop, right? Because for I told you, I've shown you the example. I is equal to 4. I is equal to 4 is not working, and the rest of the loop will work, and break stops the entire process of the loop. Break also terminates the remaining iterations. Continue does not terminate the next iterations. It resumes the successive iteration. That I told you 1, 2, 3 will work, 4 will not work, then 5, 6, 7, 8 will work. So it will stop the remaining iterations, break statement, but continue only the current one, and it resume the successive iterations. Break statement can be used with switch statement and with loops. Continue statement can be used with loops but not a switch statement. In the break statement, control exits from the loop. In the continue statement, the control remains within the loop. In a continue statement, the control remains within the loop. But in the break statement, the control exits from the loop. It is used to stop the execution of the loop at a specific condition. So here we will stop the execution of the loop at a specific condition, but in a continue, it is used to skip a particular iteration of the loop, like 4. I is equal to 4 value will come, then it will not be executed. Then the after successive iteration will be, so it can skip a particular iteration. It will stop the execution of the loop at the specific condition only. If this condition will come, when I is equal to 10 will come, the value will be reached at 10, then the complete program will terminate in a break statement. This is the difference between break and continue. Is this clear to you? Tell me, everyone. Is it understood to you? Okay, Khushbu, thanks for your feedback, because I've explained the complete topic of exception handling with the many programs. Okay, Bole, thank you so much for your valuable feedback. If it is understood to you, then only it's worth it for me, because I feel that as I've tried, as you get it. But with the different method, I've tried to be explained this topic. Amina. Amina, okay, it's understood to you also, Amina Khan. Thanks for your valuable feedback. It's fine. Okay, Rahul. Ekta. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you have to learn like this only, break and continue difference also, so that you can write it easily. Okay. So as we have done completed the chapter 7 and the main topic, because the question will come from this chapter also, or sorry, from this topic also, very, very important topic. So the one or the two questions will come definitely. So you do not skip it, this topic. So is this clear to you? Okay. Now let me share the another PPT so that we can start the new chapter. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, after this, then we have a next chapter here that we are going to start it is the abstract data type, information hiding, encapsulation, and type definition. This here we have some of the topic related to C++. So information hiding is also with the concept related to the C++, encapsulation also. Okay, so now let's see what are the contents. First of all, we will understand the concept of abstraction. This is a the previous topic that you have learned, that is a little bit programming based, but this topic is completely your theoretical based. Okay, so try to understand the things. Okay, if you have any doubt, kindly ask me. Introduction to data abstraction, information hiding, applying information hiding, encapsulation, and type definitions, right? Now, after studying this unit, the student will be able to understand the concept of what is abstract data type and their role in software development. Okay. And then we will understand the difference between abstract data type and concrete data type. Then we will learn importance of information hiding in software development and how it relates to the abstraction and modularity, right? Then we will understand the concept of encapsulation, how it helps to ensure information hiding in software design. We, at the last, we will understood the role of type definitions for creating a new data type, and we can create a new aliases. Aliases is the URF, as we are giving a short name of we are giving a short name to any person's name. So in the same way, we are making it in the programming also, how they can be used to improve the code readability and maintainability. Then we will learn the advantage and disadvantage of abstract data type, information hiding, encapsulation, and type definition. Then we will apply the concept of abstract data type, encapsulation, type definition to solve the particular problem. Is this clear? What is the learning objective? Then come to the introduction part. So here in this programming language, the developer with the various mechanisms for that we are using it for organizing and managing the data. So these mechanisms helps we are using why we are using encapsulation, information hiding in a programming language for organizing and managing the data, so that we can create a reusable and a modular code that is easy to maintain, understand, and debug. So among the most fundamental concepts are the abstract data type, information hiding, encapsulation, and type definitions. So abstract data type are a way of defining the data structure that provide a particular behavior or a set of operation while hiding the underlying implementation detail. So abstraction that you all know, I've explained you in the previous chapter also, abstraction that hides the internal details and it focus on the main features. So that we called as a abstract. So they allow developers to create a custom data types that are tailored to a specific needs and the requirement. So information hiding and encapsulation are the related concepts that refer to the practice of hiding implementation detail. This only I told you, hiding the implementation detail and provide a well-defined interface for interacting with the data structures. So this helps to prevent unauthorized access and modification of the data and improve code maintainability and reduce code complexity, right? So type definition is another important concept that developer to create a new data type or the aliases for the existing ones. So those data types are existing already. For there we are making a aliases. So this is an essential aspect of a programming language that we are using by a developer to define the new data type with the specific properties. So here we have, now let's come to the concept of abstraction. As you know, abstraction is the process of simplifying the complex entities by focus only on the important aspect as or the essential aspect while ignoring the irrelevant or the unnecessary details. This only I told you why we are doing this, why we are focusing on the essential aspect or we are ignoring the unnecessary details, because we want to create a reusable code or we want to simplify the program design. So for simplified representation of an entity, we are only including the most essential attributes. So this simplified the representation provide a higher level view of the entity. This provides a high level view of the entity and making it easier to understand and work with. So in programming, nearly all programming languages support process abstraction with subprograms, right? So how it's to be done in all programming language? Data abstraction, how they are represented by using of a subprograms. Subprograms, I told you, just like in a C, we are making a functions for calculating a area of circle, and then that function we are calling in a main function by a by using of a calling function, or the cold function will be called the calling function in the main function. So the subprograms, I've already told you what is subprogram. In the last to last unit, we have done what is subprogram. Do you remember what is subprogram? Subprogram are the block of code that can be called from within the another program or the subprogram. Another program like in the main function we can call it. So they can have their own set of variables and the data structures. This allows for the creation. Why we are making a subprogram? For the reusable code. So that that code subprogram or that function we can use in another program also. So which can simplify the overall structure of the program and make it more efficient. So now in addition to process abstraction, in a language in 1980 it also supports the data abstraction. So this makes the programmer to define complex data type easily and hide the implementation detail from the user. So this simplifies the user interaction with the data type and make it easier to use and reducing the likelihood of errors. It refers to creating a simplified representation of an entity by including not only the most essential attributes, but it simplify the higher level view of the entity also and making it easier to understand the program. In programming, nearly all programming languages supports abstraction with subprograms. So subprograms are the block of code that can be called from within another program, and they can have their own set of variables. So this allow for the creation of reusable code which can simplify the overall structure of the program and making it more efficient. Is this clear? Why we are making a subprogram abstraction with subprograms? Because we want a creation of reusable code. In addition to process abstraction, nearly all programming language designed since 1980 also supports data abstraction. So this is allows the programmer to define complex data type and hide the implementation detail from the user. So this simplifies the user interaction with the data type and make it easier to use and reducing the likelihood of the errors. Now, meaning of the abstraction is clear to everyone. Abstract data type means instance. This is kind of instance like example we can say in software engineering, which goes by many names with slightly different shades of meaning. So like first of all, some of the names that are used for this idea is abstraction, omitting or hiding low level detail with the simpler or a high level idea. Modularity, dividing a system into a components or modules, each of which can be designed implemented, tested, and reasoned, and reused separately from the rest of the system. So that we call as a modularity. Encapsulation, building a wall around a module so that a module is responsible for its own internal behavior. Is this clear? Like a hard shell. Like in C++, we are making a class. There we are adding the, what we are adding? Tell me. In a class, we are hiding the data methods and the member functions, right? Data members and the member functions. We are hiding it. Like we are writing int age, int name, oh sorry, char name, int age of a student. We are making a class of student. So these are the data members, int age and character char name, and function we have int display, or int, we can say get name, get data. So these are the two functions we have made it, and the two variables we have defined, that is data members in a class. So that we have closed these member and the member functions, the functions or the data members, we have been closing it in a class that we called as a encapsulation. That's why we are saying this is a module, a hard shell or a capsule that is responsible for its own internal behavior. Information hiding, hiding detail of a module implementation from the rest of the system, so that can be changed later without changing the rest of the system. Separation of concern, making a feature or concern the responsibility of a single module rather than spreading across multiple modules. So separation of concern is also there. So introduction to a data abstraction. First of all, I am going to explain you three level of data abstraction we have. I think the time is over. It's above. It's 8:50. So the time is over. Yes, this chapter is very important. Very right, Khushbu. Everybody is thinking this is a theoretical topic. Why we need spend a time on this chapter, and they are not attentive during this particular chapter. But these are the very object oriented programming concepts, and these questions will come in the program definitely. So these are very, very important, because these concepts are all object oriented programming concepts. When you will start learning after C++, you need to learn these concepts before learning the C++ programming. Yes, these are the basic parts of a C++ programming. So here you just feel that you are learning the basic of a C++ object oriented programming. Okay. So I think time is over, and thanks for listening me and for showing your cooperation. So good night, everyone. So yeah, if you have any doubt, kindly ask me in the next class. Or I think many of the doubts I have cleared side by side also in during the class, right? So if you have any doubt, kindly ask me just now. Otherwise, we rest of the topic we will do it in the next class. Okay. Bye bye, everyone. Take care. Good night. Yes, Khushbu, you can ask a question, beta. Okay, Bhole, bye bye. Yeah, sure, Bhumin. Every week I will try to take a class so that no doubts will be there. I'm from Haryana, Khushbu. What happened? Okay, okay, Khushbu. Good night. Take care, everyone. Bye bye, everyone. I'll meet you next week on the same time. Bye bye. And make a notes and start preparing the questions or writing the answers related to these topics. Those we have done it today. Okay. Bye bye.